Hey there, Frank here from Bike Shift 22. I just completed my chest workout tonight. I've been on the same routine for, I'd say, maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months. It's working out really well for me, so I'll continue to stay on it. And as I said before in previous videos, if it happens to go stale, I might add something or take something off, or just switch the order of which I am using exercise. Currently it's incline bench presses, as you do first. I usually have maybe a set number of sets that I do. When I warm up with that, I always usually start off with just the barbell, and then I'll add 10 pounds, and I'll just pump out some reps just to get blood flowing in the muscles to avoid injury. Then I'll load it with the 45s, and that's what my starting point is. I don't count the reps I do with just the bar and a little added weight to it as part of my set. Once I put the 45s, then I start it there as the beginning of the sets of that certain exercise. So I'll load to 45, and then I'll do the 45s, pump them out, then add 10s, pump them out, then I'll jump to 25s on each side, and then I'll add 10s accordingly. Today on the incline press, I got up to 240 on my incline press, and then I did 240 for 3 sets, I think it was, maybe 2 sets, and then I take off weight, 10 pounds on each side as I progress back down to where it's I get to 180, and then I'll pump up some maybe 3 sets of 180. So I probably do a total of maybe 7 sets just for my incline, depending. And this is just depending on how I feel for the day. Sometimes I have the energy, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I come in without the energy, but I know I have to do it, and then I just get all motivated and start pumping the exercise and have the best workout I ever had. But you know, that's how it goes in this business. So anyway, after that, I'll lower the rack and I'll do flat benches, and again I'll start off with the 45s, then jump to the 25s on each side, and then move on, so forth and so on. I got up to 260 for my almost my semi-last set before I moved back down in weight. I went up to 260, and then I did the last 2 reps at 260. I did last 2 sets of 160 for 4 reps, and then I lowered it by 10 pounds on each side as I did progressively sets downward in weight until I got to back down to 180, and I did pump out a little bit, maybe 2 more, 3 more, and then after I took it down to, I guess, 150, and then I just pumped out some reps for, just to get the blood flowing, maybe about 15 reps for 2 sets. And then after that I switched it over here, which over here I have the Smith machine, and as you can see right here, I have it on a decline. So I did some decline sets, and I did 3 of them, and I went up to 100 and to 200 on those, and I did them kept the same amount of weight. I did the first actually set with 130, and then after I loaded on and did 180 for 3 more sets. So I did a total of 4 sets on there. Didn't lower it, didn't jump down in the weight like I do with the other exercise, where I go progressively up and then progressively down in sets in weight. But I did that, and then for my final, I did on this right here, the tricep apparatus. You can hit your triceps, which is basically what it's for, but you can hit your implement it in a certain angle to hit your outer chest and your inner chest. So lean more into it, and it hits the pecs more. They're more upright, and you kind of concentrate. You actually hit your triceps on both those angles, but you implement more of the chest when you lean forward. But depending if you when you're more advanced, you can set your mind to where you can just focus on hitting your triceps no matter what angle you are, and I'll do that. But I focus less on the triceps when I'm at that angle and focus more on the pecs, which hits really well. So that's my hand exercise. Usually I run some dumbbell incline flies, but it's running late. I don't know what time it is, probably like 12, maybe even 1. And so I just forego that and just stop there. I was gonna do my triceps, but like I said, it's running late, so I'll do my triceps tomorrow morning and I'll throw them in with my biceps. Hopefully in the morning if I get up early, because I have things to do. So depending on my time, if I go to sleep early tonight and I get up early, I can do that. If not, I have to wait till after what I'm doing, what I have to do, and come back after and hit it at night. But hopefully not, because I would like to get in like one set in the morning and one set at night of exercises. Because I'm kind of off track because I've been busy doing other things. So my routine is not on point. It's kind of sporadic. It's here and there. There was a lot of times last week, the last 2 weeks, actually the beginning of the month and the end of last month, where I missed a couple of days and I had to make up for it by doubling up on certain exercises, which I don't like to do, because when I do that I tend to not go as hard because I have so much to do. So anyway, I finished that. But the real reason I making this video is because I got into a debate with one of my friends about the highly misinterpreted, or maybe I should say misconstrued exercise. And it's a legit exercise, but because the naming of it has negativity to it, people think it's not supposed to be used, but it's actually supposed to be used. And the exercise I'm talking about is the cheat. And people call them cheat reps, and they're implemented in every function of almost every function of lifting. Some people don't know they're doing it. And there's also the negative rep, which is just a form of the cheat. It's just a different form, but it's the same thing. Because it's named negative rep, they don't acquire cheating with it, which people shouldn't focus on the name of it. They shouldn't even call it cheating. They should call it unassisted rep, because that's exactly what it is. If they would have named it unassisted reps and not cheating reps, that people wouldn't feel so negatively about it. Oh, that's cheating, which is not. It's just it's a legit form. It's a legit exercise. The only problem is it is solely and purely an advanced exercise. It is meant for advanced bodybuilders. I should actually say expert, because when you're at an advanced level, there's beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And most advanced are already experts at that time when they get to that level where they're advanced. Like, I would consider me an advanced bodybuilder. I'm not that humongous because I don't take steroids. I'm a natural bodybuilder. So, but I am advanced. I've been doing this most of my life, all of my adult life, and into my late teens. So I studied it, and I actually majored in kinesiology in college. So the studies there and the implements of all the exercises and the training routines are there. So I'm quite advanced in it. But the exercise, the cheat movement, is actually an advanced exercise and shouldn't at no time be used for beginners or even intermediates, unless you're crossing that boundary from intermediate to advanced. And that's only because you have to have that foundation, and you have to actually have where you have some muscle where it looks like you're a bodybuilder, to use that to implement that movement into your routines. And I'll demonstrate what a little bit what the cheat movement is. When you're doing, it's mostly at the time used as far as when you're doing curls, because that's the easiest point to use it. You could do it for other things, and I'll demonstrate that down the line, but for this purpose I'll show you what it is in curl. And let me grab a dumbbell. Okay. When you're curling a dumbbell, when you're a beginner, you gotta stick to pure form. That's the best way to do anything. Stick to pure form. Don't try these gimmicky exercises. Just stick to what you know and what you're learning. Different exercises, but stick to pure form, try to maintain a straight up and down posture, and go into the whole movement as it's intended. So regular movement would be as such. If you're a beginner, that's what you're going to be doing. You could tweak it, the exercise different ways, your hand, supination, pronation, whatsoever. But with a cheat curl, when you're an expert bodybuilder, you have to do everything, because most expert bodybuilders are doing it for show, as in competition and stuff, and they don't stop at failure. They go beyond failure, and that's what you got to do. You got to push yourself, and you have those big muscles where you have to. You just can't stop when you can't do it no more. You can't stop there. You got to go further than that. You got to push harder. Always push forward. So when say you're curling and you can't do it anymore, it's hard to lift. You cheat a little bit and throw it up. And you just, all you're doing is, it's not a cheat as the word is intended, as saying it's something you should not be doing, it's cheating. It's actually just getting extra reps out of a movement where you would normally have stopped, but you're getting that extra movements out. So you kind of sway your body to get that extra movement where you couldn't anymore. There's a point where you go beyond cheating, where it's just useless, where you're just actually bringing it up with, there's no actually involvement of your arm. So it's that's why I say it's a very advanced technique. You got to know how to do it and how to perform it. So when you're doing something like this, you're not even working out the arm anymore. You're just using momentum to throw it and to lower it down. So it's just like just a little nudge to get it extra going. And when you're a serious bodybuilder, an advanced bodybuilder, you have to go that extra mile. You just can't stop, like say, oh, I can't lift it anymore, I'm done. You'll never get anywhere. You'll never build. You'll just stop short of where you should be going. So you got to go that extra mile. And you can use it with a dumbbell. And I'm using just as an example, but say you have a straight bar. When you're curling, you can throw that extra little cheat just to get it over the sticking point. And that's basically what it's for. It's not to complete the whole movement. It's just to get it beyond that sticking point where you would normally wouldn't be able to go past. And then you get past that sticking point and you lift it with the rest of your body. And that's what a cheat curl is. A cheat movement. So if you study it and you know and you're advanced, you know it's a legit exercise. It's not cheating, it just has that word, which, like I said, they should never have called it that, or else it would have such negativity towards it. They should have called it an unassisted negative rep or something like that. Because the negative rep is basically the same thing as a cheat movement. And a lot of people who are saying, oh, I don't do cheat movement, they're cheating, which they're not. Actually, it's a legit movement. Well, use negative reps, which is basically a cheat movement assisted. Okay, with a negative rep, and it's mostly like when you're on, you do all standing, where you can't go anymore and you have that point. So instead of, if you're by yourself, you move past that sticking point. But when you're with a training partner, he actually stands on this side of you and lends a little hand to get it past that sticking point. And it's the exact same thing as a cheat movement, but in that case, if you're using a partner, it's called a negative rep. And so the cheat movement is just a negative rep unassisted. So it's basically the same thing. So throwing it past that sticking point, or using a friend to help you lift it over that sticking point. Basically the same fucking thing. And also it's commonly used too when you're doing preacher curls, and it actually works best as a cheat movement when you're doing preacher curls, which is called a negative rep then. Because when you're on the bench and you're performing a cheat curl, you can't go up anymore, but you gotta, when you're an advanced bodybuilder, you gotta push beyond that sticking point, and you gotta get those extra reps up. It's something that has to be done, or else you'll never get there. You'll never reach that higher expectations of getting bigger or anything. You'll just fall short. You're actually cheating yourself. So when you're doing that movement and you can't go anymore, your friend will assist you on that side while you're using his finger, just allowing enough pressure to get you over that sticking point. And that's just basically a cheat rep assisted. So there's a cheat rep unassisted, and there's a cheat rep assisted, which is called a negative rep. Same thing. Just how, depending on how you implement it. And another facets of routines, you can say there's cheating in everything. Say you're pressing and you at the end you can't lift anymore and you use a little hop. That's a cheat too, and it's kind of good. Depending on how you get. If you have no injuries, you shouldn't perform a cheat rep. That's the thing. And there's certain exercises that people say are legit that you shouldn't use, no matter if it's a cheat rep or even just a curl. If you have an injury and curl is going to hurt that, you don't do it. So don't do anything that's going to hurt an injury that you already have. Some people have back problems. Doing a cheat curl or unassisted curl can maybe have a negative action on their back, so I would avoid it. But it is a legit use. People, when they're doing dumbbell presses too, they'll be seated. If they're with a training partner, they'll have the training partner stand behind them and lift their shoulders a little bit when they can't get past that sticking point to help them. And that's just another form of cheating. It's just assisted versus unassisted. So when you do a clean and jerk is when you have your Olympic bar loaded and you throw it up and then press. That's kind of in a way, a cheat movement, because you're not just like lifting it up full strength. You're using actual momentum and a skill level to lift the weight over past. So you can actually say that's kind of a cheat movement because you're not using pure strength to lift it up. You're actually using momentum to get it up. So that's kind of, within itself, kind of a cheat movement. So that's that. So basically, I hope this clears any misconceptions you have about the cheat movement, which is not legitimately cheating. It's just what they call the movement. It's an actual applied movement. And then it's an advanced movement. It has that negativity to it because when you see somebody who's not advanced, like I say, shouldn't be using it, it looks awkward and it looks like they're not doing it properly, which they're not, and has no use for them. They should just stick to the fundamentals of strict movements and full extension and contractions when they're working out. So it's a legit movement. It has its purpose. I guarantee you, every single top bodybuilder uses it, and they didn't get to where they are from not using it. They have to use it. They have to apply it in their routine. When I was younger, I didn't apply it because I wasn't that big. I didn't need it. Now, when you want to get past that sticking point and you want to get bigger, you have to. You either use negative reps or negative reps unassisted, which is a cheat movement. So I hope that clarifies everything with the cheat movement. Like I say, it's a legit exercises. It's strictly advanced, and it's how you use the movement. You can't just toss it up. It's just enough movement to get you past that sticking point. So there it is. Hopefully that works out for you. Bike Shift 22. Peace out.